Hello everyone, welcome back to the Dan Europe YouTube channel. My name is Nico Luro. It is good to be back and to have a fully functioning studio this time, so I'm back on camera. Yeah, I wanted to go over a topic this month that is far less discussed than we would normally do, and then I think divers normally do. I want to break down the top 10 altitude dives around the world. Now, as with everything, with altitude diving, there are a number of considerations, possibly more than in any other type of diving discipline, but that obviously remains open for discussion. But possibly more than any other dive discipline, you kind of have to break the normal safety planning conventions when it comes to altitude diving. There's a load of other things to consider, which I frankly do not have the time to go to on this video. But I'd love to hear from you guys. Are you altitude divers? Is it something you've ever shown an interest in doing? Something that you would aspire to do? Let me know once you've watched this top 10 if any of the dive sites that I cover made you go, oh yeah, I'd love to do that. But yeah, this month on Dan Europe, we're counting down the top 10 altitude dives around the world. Let's get into it.
We're diving into one of the most bizarre dive environments on the planet, Yellowstone Lake, high in the volcanic plateau of Wyoming, United States of America. Sitting at over 7,700 feet or 2,357 meters, this lake is laced with geothermal vents, bacterial mats, and shifting underwater landscapes that feel truly alien. Expect near-freezing temperatures and bubbling sulfur plumes. It's like diving in a science experiment gone rogue. Another volcano entry now. Nicaragua's Laguna de Apoyo, a volcanic crater lake at roughly 1,640 feet 500 meters above sea level. Warm, crystal clear fresh water. Check. Endemic species like the Apoyo cichlid. Double check. This is one of the easiest altitude dives to access. No dry suit required, but still demands adjusted dive planning, of course. It's perfect for those just getting into high altitude diving. For this entry, we're heading to Finland's second largest lake, Lake Pajänne. I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong, but it is a favorite amongst Nordic dry suit divers. At around 82 meters above sea level, it's not the highest, but what it lacks in altitude, it makes up for in sheer atmosphere. Expect eerie forests of submerged tree trunks, scattered boulders, and almost mystical fog rolling off the surface. With water temperature often hovering near freezing, this one's not for the faint of heart. Welcome to the deep blue alpine gem of Lake Tahoe for my next entry. Located at over 6,200 feet or 1,897 meters, this massive freshwater lake offers visibility that can stretch over 30 meters on a good day. Dive along submerged boulder fields, sunken trees, and even some forgotten man-made relics. But be warned, the water's cold and the altitude will hit your air consumption hard. Dive slow, plan smart. For this entry, we head to the volcanic heart of New Zealand, Lake Taupo. Formed by a super eruption nearly 2,000 years ago, this crater lake sits at 1,168 feet, or 356 meters above sea level. Dive sites here reveal geothermal vents, rock shelves, and schools of trout, all backed by stunning mountain views. It's a unique mix of science, serenity, and geothermal weirdness. And yes, you'll need that altitude dive certification, of course.
Before we continue, please do remember that if you are planning altitude diving, or indeed any type of diving, you do of course want to make sure that you are properly covered and indeed insured. Now, while all of us here at Dan Europe are avid divers of various levels, technical, recreational, etc., it doesn't matter what type of diving we're doing, where we're doing it, we want to make sure that we're properly covered. There is a link in the description below that will take you straight to our policies page where you can purchase your own Dan insurance for your upcoming dive trips. There's all sorts of different memberships available, so please do pick the one that covers you appropriately and suits your needs the best. Goes without saying, if you're planning diving, least of all altitude diving, make sure you are properly covered, and Dan Europe can help you out with that. Now let's get back to this top 10.
Heading to the border of France and Switzerland for our next entry with Lake Geneva, or Lac Léman. At around 1,220 feet, 372 meters elevation, this alpine giant offers stunning wall dives, freshwater wrecks, and even submerged sculptures. It's a popular training ground for European divers thanks to excellent visibility, mostly, and easy access, but still packs a thrill with deep drop-offs and surprise thermoclines. With this entry, it's the jaw-dropping volcanic caldera of Lake Atitlan in Guatemala. Perched at over 5,100 feet, 1,562 meters, this high-altitude lake boasts sheer underwater cliffs, lava formations, and bubbling thermal vents. The backdrop of volcanoes makes it one of the most photogenic dive sites on the list, and maybe even indeed the world. But don't forget, altitude of course means shorter bottom times and far longer surface intervals. And if you don't know, get to know. Make sure you do your altitude diver course. A nation which we're not often going to be able to reference on our top 10 show here on Dan Europe for our next entry, but we're going far off the beaten path to Lake Songkul in Kyrgyzstan. Sitting at nearly 10,000 feet, 3,016 meters, this remote lake offers true expedition-style diving. You'll need 4x4s to get there, dry suits to stay warm, and nerves of steel for the cold, crystal-clear waters. But once you're in, you're diving in a place few people on Earth have ever explored, with remnants of old tribes and war clans abound all over the seabed. The next entry takes us to the highest navigable lake in the world, the legendary Lake Titicaca. Straddling Bolivia and Peru at a breath-stealing 12,500 feet or 3,812 meters, this dive is more about history than marine life. Explore pre-Incan ruins, freshwater sponges, and mysterious stone structures on the lakebed. Due to the extreme elevation, divers must acclimatize properly. This is not a dive you do straight off the plane. While on the topic of marine life, though there isn't much, Lake Titicaca does have a legendary aquatic toad that you should be on the lookout for. And finally, at number 1, maybe not the most logical choice, but let me explain. It's the magical fleeting phenomenon that is Green Lake, or Grüner See, in Austria. Every spring, snow melt from the Hochschwab Mountains floods a park, creating a surreal crystal clear lake at 2,546 feet or 776 meters elevation. Definitely not the highest, but for a few weeks, divers can swim over flooded benches, footbridges, and hiking paths in what feels like a dreamscape. Seriously, tell me where else in the world you can dive at altitude in what is essentially a flooded park. It's just trippy, it's ephemeral, it's enchanting, and it's the definition, really, of once in a lifetime.
So there you have it, 10 dives that, in all likelihood, you'll probably very rarely have a chance to do. These aren't the sort of dives that you just reach by liveaboard or that you can go on holiday and walk off the beach to do. These, I would say, put you in a very elite group of divers. So for the very notion of just being able to say, yeah, I've dived there, I think they're worth doing on that basis alone. Is it worth doing the extra training? Well, you guys have seen the footage today. You tell me, have any of these dive sites motivated you to think, man, I really want to try altitude diving now because I want to dive in, I don't know, Lake Titicaca? Let me know in the comment section down below which of these dive sites is the most appealing to you, and I will see you very soon right here on the Dan Europe YouTube channel for another top 10. So keep it right here on the Dan Europe YouTube channel. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. Make sure you've clicked the notification bell so you never miss one of our upcoming releases, be the top 10 or something else. I'm Nico Luro. You can find me on all social media platforms, but do make sure, as I said, primarily that you're following us right here on Dan, and I will see you very soon for another video. Bye for now.